Hey guys, Bipolar Barbie here. Now I'm just doing another video today. I will be talking about defining mental illness and what the definition of mental illness is and some of the things that people just really don't understand about it. So this is going to clarify some of those up hopefully. If you like it and want more people to see it, feel free to share. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, do it guys, like come on. And if you have any thoughts on it, comment below because I really do love reading them. Dog hair. Like seriously. The definition of mental illness is a condition which causes serious disorder in a person's behavior or thinking. So I think it's really strange when people just say things to me, I guess, that are kind of really contrary to that really basic definition. Like, is it really so surprising that someone who has been diagnosed with a mental illness would behave in very strange ways? Is it really that unbelievable that they have a very different style of thinking? I mean, of course they are going to do that because that's what mental illness does. It distorts a person's type of thinking. Now, there are 297 mental illnesses registered in the DSM, which is basically explaining all of the symptoms that psychologists and psychiatrists use worldwide as kind of the standard for each individual diagnosis. So it's like a dictionary for each one, symptom checker, and then they can kind of work out effective treatment from, you know, whatever it is that someone might be suffering from. So, I mean, when people have things like schizophrenia, which is obviously one of them listed in there, or schizoaffective disorder, or some form of psychosis, I mean, would you really be questioning, you know, their pet unicorn that they have in their bedroom? I mean, we understand that people have some form of, you know, psychotic disorder, that they're going to see things that aren't there. I don't think a lot of us would simply tell them to, I mean, people have probably tried. People are very, you know, they like to tell us that what we're facing is not real. But I think people would be more understanding that they are seeing things that aren't there. But I mean, every other form of mental illness still has a form of distorted thinking or an effect on their behavior. I mean, depression, that gives you a negative filter. So in a way, that is definitely, you know, a serious disorder in the way that someone thinks. They're going to think negatively. That is what depression does. That is not who they are as a person. And simply telling them to stop thinking so negatively is really not going to help. What people have to do is deal with the cause of that negative thinking, which is depression. Borderline, for example, is a sensitivity to, you know, rejection or abandonment. So people are going to be really hypersensitive to that. Something as simple as like looking at your watch or your phone when someone's talking to you sends alarm bells into their brain, and they're going, oh my God, this person doesn't care about me. This person doesn't want to listen to what I say. They're not engaged. This person doesn't like me. And that immediately turns to things like, I'm worthless. And not a lot of people will understand how those connections are made. People always say to me, well, you know, it's not logical. Well, duh. But there's a reason that they call us crazy. There's a reason that they say we are not in our right mind, because we're not. We're not thinking logically. We're not making rational decisions. People often say to me as well, particularly my family, are like, you made some really poor decisions in your life and this and that. It's like, yeah, you know what? I have. Especially during a manic episode. I mean, mania actually affects certain parts of your brain. So sometimes it can be like thinking, particularly anxiety, that you can sort of overcome by changing that default thinking style. With a lot of work though. It takes years of therapy of learning how to do that, practicing it every single day. It is tough work. But as far as something like mania is concerned, there are parts of your brain that are working at like full capacity. So for example, you don't need to sleep, you've got excess energy, And there is this part of your brain, though, that is like the rational side of your brain that's kind of switched off. Everything seems like an amazing idea when you're manic. The brakes and that reasoning and rational thinking is like turned off. It's not actually working on a physical level, and brain scans show that. So of course I'm going to act recklessly. Everything will seem like a good idea. I can jump out of a moving car and there is nothing in my brain telling me that this is a crappy idea. There are no consequences because my brain is not alerting me to these consequences. And that is what mania does. It hijacks my brain. And personality disorders, like narcissistic personality disorder, someone is so completely in love with themselves. They're almost incapable of loving anyone else. They need a constant need for adoration and affirmation of their positive qualities. I mean, that is a distorted level of thinking. I mean, people with eating disorders, they think that they are overweight and that losing weight is the way to fulfill that internal need for validation, to increase their self-esteem and to be, I guess, appealing to the rest of the world. So I just don't really understand. Like, I find it absolutely hilarious, really, when people will sit there and they will point out you know, the way in which someone they know is suffering a mental illness is just, you know, got this completely distorted and warped view of the world, like they're surprised. Like, seriously. What's that about, guys? No one is going to be thinking rationally when they're not in their right mind. And having a mental illness, that is really what it's about. And that is kind of the definition between mental health and mental illness. Whereas mental health is about keeping yourself in peak mental fitness. Whereas a diagnosed mental illness is really like a serious, I don't want to say disability, but alteration of someone's life. My dad's just like doing funny faces. Alright guys, I guess that means the alarm bell sign and it's time to go. Make sure to give me a thumbs up, comment on this video if you have any thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys. Mwah.